In the Kingkiller Chronicle by Patrick Rothfuss, we learn of two different versions of the Lackless Rhyme. Now this is a cryptic poem that seems to be listing 7 things needed to open the Lackless door. This is a mysterious door without hinges or a handle, and nobody knows what's on the other side. However, there are some clues. I'm going to be going line by line, deciphering these 7 things and talking about what is behind this mysterious door. I think this rhyme is going to be vital in Book 3 when this door is inevitably opened. I think the Lackless door is likely the same as the Doors of Stone, and Kvothe is gonna mess everything up by opening it. Now you may have different ideas, maybe you have a different interpretation of this poem. Feel free to let me know in the comments. I would love to discuss this with you guys. Now you should watch the last Kingkiller theory video I put up about Kvothe being the son of Eax. I go over some key points there that I'm gonna be adding on to in this one, so you should watch that one first. If you watched the other video, then you know that Kvothe's mother, Lorien, is Natalia Lackless, the sister to Maelluin Lackless, who ran away with an Aedema Rue troop. Now Maelluin is described as Lady Lackless, so we can assume that her sister Natalia is also Lady Lackless. And when young Kvothe repeats the Lackless rhyme, his mother's reaction makes it clear that she's not just upset because the small innuendo, she's upset because she's taking it personal. The rhyme is about her. Specifically, it involves a dramatic scandal of hers, a secret, the 7th thing underneath her black dress, a hidden pregnancy. We're gonna get into it all. Now taking a look at both versions of the rhyme, they both start off fairly similar, mentioning 7 things. Interesting to note, they stand before the entrance to the Lackless door, not the Lackless door itself. I believe the entrance is Faerinial. You have to access the Lackless door through Faerinial. I'm gonna explain why in a little bit. Also, considering the Lackless family history in the Creation War, I think that Black Dress could be connected to Black Dross, or the Black of Dross and Tor. This is described as the largest and most terrible battle of the Creation War, lasting 3 days and 3 nights. And according to the story, more people died at the Black of Dross and Tor than there are living in Temerant currently. And it's during this conflict that Lanray is killed and subsequently revived by his wife Lyra. It's also where Eax, the Great Shaper, the enemy, was sealed behind the Doors of Stone, which ended the Creation War. Now I think it's possible that Lanray was the son of Eax, meaning that Lyra took his surname and became the first Lady Lackless. We know that Hal is Latin for breath, so Haliax could be interpreted as breath of Eax, which makes the story even more dramatic. His father became an egomaniac. He wasn't happy with just building the Fae and placing a star in the sky. He had to pull the moon into the Fae realm. Eax caused the entire Creation War, and Lanray was forced to fight against his father, ultimately leading to the death of his wife. Then, Lanray talks to the Kvothe, he becomes immortal, he's not able to die, and he's stuck in his grief. And this amount of grief is enough for him to go on a big rampage against the Empire. It's very dramatic stuff, akin to like a Greek tragedy, and definitely good material for Arleden. So if this is true, Kvothe could be related to both Eax and Lanray. Anyways, Black Dress could be referring to the location of the Lackless door. The door is at the site of the Black of Dross and Tor, wherever this battle took place. Next we have one a ring that's not for wearing, or one of them a ring unworn. Many have theorized this could be the ring that Maelluin gave to Kvothe, or it could be Denna's ring, which happens to have Yillish knots on it. And we know the Aemir have been known to use Yillish knots to hide secrets. So maybe her ring isn't meant for wearing, it's meant to carry a secret message. Other ideas, the ring not for wearing could be a ringing sound, maybe the sound of Eax's stone flute, or maybe the sound of a lute, or even the sound of someone singing a name. However, I think this ring is the Ring of Greystones that Kvothe saw in his dream in the Name of the Wind, after his troop was slaughtered. Feyrineal. I think Feyrineal plays a big role in accessing the door. Next we have a sharp word not for swearing or a word that is forsworn. I believe this is the true name of Eax. After all, Felurian refuses to speak this name, almost like it's taboo or forsworn. Otherwise, it could be the true name of something else. Maybe it's related to Encanis, who's described as having a face all in shadow and a voice like a knife in the minds of men. One a time that must be right. I think this clearly has to do with the different phases of the moon. The moon plays a big role in the Kingkiller Chronicle. There's a lot of moon symbolism. The pottery at the Mothan farm has Haliax with different phases of the moon above him. Felurian mentions that a full moon allows the Fae to slip into the mortal realm. So maybe specifically it has to be a full moon. Then we have her husband's candle, or a candle without light. This one's tough. I don't know the importance of the candle, but with the Chandrian pottery found at the Mothan farm, there is a candle with an orange flame and a candle with a black flame beside Haliax. If we look at this in a symbolic way, a candle often represents a spirit or a mortal life. Bast even references this when reciting a poem to his sleeping Reshi. Haliax has a black candle because he's unable to die no matter how hard he tries. If Haliax is the breath of Eax, could this be more evidence suggesting that Haliax is controlled by Eax? He is her husband's candle. He's acting as an agent of Eax. In one of my previous videos, a long time ago, I mentioned a theory that Eax, the enemy, was actually a skin dancer. It moved like a worm in fruit. And at the Battle of Drossen Tor, this skin dancer jumped into the body of Lanray, meaning that Eax's skin dancer is controlling Lanray, which is why he became Haliax. There's a door without a handle. Now this is the Lackless door, which I believe could also be the 4-plate door. I went over this theory in the previous video, but we know from Codicus that on the oldest parts of the Lackless lands, in the oldest part of their ancestral estate, there's a secret door, a door without a handle or hinges. My argument is that the oldest part of the Lackless lands would be the university, because in the story of Jax, he started off in a broken house. This is the Underthing. It was at the beginning of the Broken Road. He ends up following the Broken Road all the way to the mountains, where he unfolds the Folding House. The Folding House and the Broken House are two completely different things, though I see many fans get these two mixed up. The Broken House was his original home that he gave to a tinker to repair. It's located at the beginning of the Great Stone Road, which is right where the university is, where the Underthing is. What do we find at the very top of the Underthing? The 4-plate door. This is the Lackless door. I believe the Doors of Stone is the Lackless door, which is the 4-plate door. They're all the same. We also know from Felurian, the Great Shaper, Eax, is locked behind the Doors of Stone, just like how the enemy was locked behind the Doors of Stone in the story of Lanray. All three are the same, and the number 3 plays a big role in the Kingkiller Chronicle. There's the 3 silences. 3 things wise men fear. 3 locks on Coach's chest in his room. Tamerlane had 3 tools, the key, coin, and candle. Ari gave Kvothe 3 gifts. A tinker's debt is paid in 3. The Adem often give titles that have 3 meanings, like Madre meaning the flame, the thunder, the broken tree. In one of my videos on the Adem, I mentioned a theory that the Amir, the Singers, and the Scythe could all be connected, and I think it could be the same for these 3 doors. This door leads to whatever realm or prison that Eax resides in. The door sat still as a mountain, quiet and indifferent as the sea on a windless day. This was not a door for opening, it was a door for staying closed. In a box no lid or locks, Lackless keeps her husband's rocks. There's the obvious innuendo there with her husband's rocks, but as for the box, I think this is definitely the Lockless Box, and the Lockless is named after the original pronunciation and spelling of the Lockless family, which as we know evolved into the Lackless family. And in the Wise Man's Fear, it's speculated that the Lockless Box is is at least 3,000 years old and dates all the way back to the beginning of the Lackless family. This mysterious box has no visible hinges, seams, or locks. It's smooth, but carved with a subtle pattern that Kvothe speculates might be Yillish story knots. Now, the wood of the box is described as having a spicy lemon smell to it, and the only other time that Kvothe mentions a spicy lemon smell is during his encounter with the Kvothe. It's possible the Lockless Box is made from the same wood of the tree that the Kvothe is trapped in. Now, we also know that Roa wood is described as smelling of citrus, so it's likely the Kvothe's tree and the Lockless Box are both made from Roa wood. Now, obviously there's something inside the box, and Kvothe mentions that he thinks it's either glass or stone. There are two main theories that I've come across in regards to what's inside the box. A lot of people think that if her husband is Eax, then this is likely the same box in the story of Jax, the box that he used to trap part of the name of the moon. So likely it contains a moon rock that binds part of the name of the moon, Ludus, to the Fey realm. Now, the other theory is that if Lady Lackless is Lyra and her husband is Lanray, then maybe this is the obsidian, the piece of mountain glass that Celatos used to gouge out his own eye and bind Haliax. Maybe messing with the stones can lift Haliax's curse. Who knows? I'm kinda leaning to the moon theory, to be honest, because it just fits in with everything. Let me know what you think. Now let's quickly finish up the second rhyme, a sun that brings the blood. Most fans believe this sun refers to a Lackless descendant. Since Kvothe is the son of Natalia Lackless and he's the protagonist, it's likely that he's the sun that brings the blood. However, I don't think it's simply talking about a Lackless descendant. I think it's talking about the blood or son of Eax. Again, watch my other video for more details. The rhyme mentions Lady Lackless or Lorien having a husband associated with the door. Now, I think this husband is Eax. Arladin joking about Lorien bedding down some wandering god. I think that was actually a huge clue for the reader. You can even see this in Lorien's reaction. Arladin, bless his soul, is actually Kvothe's stepfather, not his real father. I know a lot of fans aren't going to like that idea, but I think it's likely true. 1. A door that holds the flood. This is really interesting. I think along with Eax, there's also a flood of Skrael and Skin Dancers that are locked behind this door. That's why in the present day, these creatures are now running loose. After all, the Scythe were said to have hunted the Skin Dancers to extinction, but I think some of these survived behind the door, and that's why we see them in the present day, because that door was opened. 1. A thing tight held in keeping. Again, I think this is referring to the Lockless Box. It's been passed down from the beginning of the Lackless family. Then comes that which comes with sleeping. The obvious answer to this is dreaming. And in the other version, it says there's a secret she's been keeping. She's been dreaming and not sleeping. On a road that's not for traveling, Lackless likes her riddle raveling. Now, I went over this in the previous video, but I'll go over it again. The 7th thing that's hidden underneath her black dress is the secret. This suggests a hidden pregnancy. Just like in the story of Menda, where Periel is impregnated by Telu in her dreams, Kvothe's mother in her dreams traveled beyond the doors of stone and was impregnated by Eax. She accessed the Lackless door through a road that's not for traveling. I believe this is the crossroads of Feyriniel, a place where all the roads in the world meet. This is not a place any man has ever found by searching, and it's not a place you travel to. It's the place you pass through while on your way to somewhere else. It's right there in the text. It's not a place you travel to because you access it in your dreams. Both Lackless rhymes emphasize sleep. There's a secret she's been keeping, she's been dreaming and not sleeping. Then comes that which comes with sleeping. To travel past the Lackless door, you have to enter Feyriniel in your dreams. And we can't forget, after the slaughter of his troop and he had to survive in the woods, he had a dream where he was surrounded by greystones. Now, I believe he was actually traveling to Feyriniel here. Near the end of the dream, there's a mysterious door that appears, but he wakes up just before he's able to pass through it. I also don't think it's a coincidence that Kvothe seemingly spoke with something in his dreams. There was somebody that was guiding him, appearing as other people that he knew, that gave him information he needed to survive, and this wasn't stuff he already knew. Maybe this was even his father, Eax, guiding him in his sleep. Now the last line, riddle raveling, has a second meaning to it. A derogatory term for a Demaru is ravel. So this is strong evidence that Kvothe, one of the Ademaru, is that son. Now how does the 4-plate door fit into this? Again, I do think the 4-plate door is the Lackless door. It's just too convenient that Jax's broken house, the oldest part of the Lackless lands, happens to be right where the location of the Underthing is. So I think it maybe is possible to travel beyond the door in your dreams by using Faerinial, but the only way to truly open the door and free Eax is by using the 4-plate door. This door is described in a similar way to the Lockless Box, and possibly the box is needed to open it. It's located in the heart of the archives, and in a way, you could say that the Guardians are the University Masters, some of which I do believe are Amir, especially Master Lauren, who happens to be in charge of the archives. I think the prison for the most dangerous man in existence is located in the house of all Temerant's knowledge. Also, side note, it's interesting how the archives is described as looking like one giant greystone. I'm not sure what that implies, but it's very cool. Now with all this being said, whether Kvothe is the direct son of Eax, if Eax is his father or not, we do know that he is the son of Natalia Lackless, so he is related to Eax. He is a Lackless descendant. Kvothe's red hair, his musical ability, his dark and changing eyes, the way he's impatient and rushes into things, just like the story of Jax. I think it's all leading up to him coming into contact with Eax and causing chaos in the world again. Now if the right people found out about Kvothe's lineage, that his mother was a Lackless heir, and they wanted to start a fuss with the mayor and Malouin, this would be enough to start a war in Vintas. And this leads me to talk about Denna's research. If Denna and her patron were researching genealogies back far enough to lead them to Lanray's story, it isn't that much of a jump to think that they were actually researching the Lackless family. I think Denna's patron suspects that the Lackless family might have ties to Eax himself. And we all know Kvothe is going to break his promise to Denna and look into her patron's true identity. This is heavily foreshadowed. And I think this is going to cause a lot of problems. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of this. Big thank you as always to all of my patrons. These videos wouldn't be possible without your help. I appreciate the support so much.